So, it's been quite a while since my last Smash Bros. Character analysis video. And just to be clear, this video will be analyzing the potential behind certain characters that I think would be neat in Smash Bros. Ultimate, and not actually analyzing pre-existing characters that are already in Smash. Before I begin, I want to thank and shout out Onion Creature for the idea and inspiration behind this video. I've seen a few of his videos, being his Octopath Traveler Smash video, and his Xenoblade vs. Octopath video as well. Definitely cool stuff. Link to him will be down in the description below if you want to check him out. So this being said, let's talk about Octopath Traveler's potential in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Per usual, nothing in this video is concrete. We're just kind of brainstorming ideas here for Octopath Traveler characters in Smash Bros. Ultimate. As of the time of this recording, the only announced character regarding Smash Bros. Ultimate's DLC has been Joker, and that 3.0 is set to release by the end of April, if I recall that correctly. So nothing in this video is to be obviously correlating with events or announcements of such around the time of its release. Not gonna lie, it would suck if Nintendo decided to throw up another Direct on the day of release for this video. Although it wouldn't be the first time. Whew! Octopath Traveler's characters. Now, how exactly would this fit into Smash Bros? Well, that's quite the interesting question with quite a few different interesting answers. Many people who have thought of this question may think only of certain characters from Octopath's cast would be best as playable, for example, only having Cyrus, or only having Albrecht, or Honnet, for example. While such characters definitely could hold their own on the Smash Bros. Battlefield, the question then becomes, how does one individual traveler best represent the game? The whole concept of the game is that each character is as vital as the other. You can choose who you want when you want them. You could go the whole game solo and not even gain another party member. So how exactly would a single character best show this? In my opinion, it wouldn't. The ideal idea for me would be to have all 8 into Smash at one time. Now, that's definitely a trying task with a lot of wavering options, so let's dissect and digest this real quick. First of all, let's start with the idea that we do in fact want all 8 characters in Smash Ultimate. Some individuals may see it fit to have all 8 characters into one, rotating out between them like Pokemon Trainer. Personally, I don't think this is exactly ideal. Pokemon Trainer is already a high-tier character regarding the different playstyles people are forced to adapt to. From being comboed from Squirtle, zoned by Ivysaur, to Flare Blitz from Charizard, Pokemon Trainer's unique switch mechanic is definitely something that I feel should be left to Pokemon Trainer. So, how would we incorporate all 8 characters if we aren't wanting to switch them out like that? Well, here's what I think. Personally, I feel like we should leave each character available from the character select screen. From there, underneath one character slot, you're able to alternate between characters like Pokemon Trainer. The catch is, you cannot change that character in the middle of battle. If you start the battle as Cyrus, then you play the game as Cyrus. The only difference between the Travelers and other characters is that they'd all be under one character slot, but accessible through that single slot, like Pokemon Trainer or the Miis, for example. Furthermore, I don't think all 8 will be underneath a single slot. I believe that there will be 2 character slots, with 4 characters for each. Since this is Ultimate specifically, we have the Echo Fighter system to work with. Echo Fighters are characters that are essentially clones of other characters, with most of the same attacks, animations, and properties with their models. Now, in Octopath Traveler, there are 2 types of characters that you play as, rogue and noble characters. Now, they essentially do the same things in the overworld. Therion, a rogue character, obtains items by stealing them from NPCs. Tressa, a noble character, obtains items by buying them. They have different methods, but with the same goal. I think that this could translate perfectly to how Echo Fighters can ideally be represented. So, for the character select screen, we have Noble Travelers and Rogue Travelers, with Rogue being the echo of Noble, just because. So, for Noble characters, we have Ophelia, Albrecht, Tressa, and Alphen. For Rogue characters, we have Cyrus, Primrose, Therion, and Honnet. Rather than having 8 characters in one, we have a 4-in-1 that cannot be interchangeable throughout the midst of the battle. This way we can ensure maximum potential with the lowest cost of the character select screen. So now that we have our characters organized, we must come up with their moveset. Remember, these are Echo Fighters. their attacks must be at least somewhat similar. For clarification, we'll set aside next which characters will be echoes of which. Primrose will be an echo of Ophelia, Honnet will be an echo of Ulbrich, Therion will be an echo of Tressa, and Cyrus will be an echo of Alphen. As far as Echo fighters are concerned, again, they all at least share some sort of attacks, animations, and properties. We now must create a moveset for each character and then call out exactly what makes that character different than its counterpart fighter. Starting with Ophelia. Now, Ophelia within Octopath Traveler can act as three things: your Noble Guider, your Mass Healer, and your Light Attribute User. With Primrose as Ophelia's Echo fighter, we need to make sure that Primrose parallels a bit here. So let's see. Primrose acts as your Rogue Guider, your Dark Attribute User, and maybe your Stat Booster? With 2 out of 3 of these in the hole here, we have an idea for what the moveset can be. For starters, however, weapons. Both Primrose and Ophelia use different weapons in Octopath Traveler. Ophelia uses a staff while Primrose uses a dagger. I'm unsure how, but just imagine that they would share the same knockback, but Primrose's dagger deals more damage maybe. This concept would be used for dash attacks, tilts, aerials, jabs, and yeah. Their grabs would be the same in animation and launch, but different in damage. Primrose would deal more damage from attacking while grabbing, while both of their throws effectively being like snakes. Their main difference comes from their specials. Ophelia's standard special will be Holy Light, with Primrose's being Moonlight Waltz. Both will do the same damage and knockback, but have different animation and aesthetic effects. The attack would look similar to Palutena's Side B, but is closer in range and chargeable like Ike's. Aside from this, I imagine that it could be possible, for it to be more something like, I don't know, Lucas's PK Freeze, although, not extending out as far, and obviously not freezing the opponent. Both characters' side special would be the upgraded attack of their standard special, Night Ode for Primrose and Luminescence for Ophelia. These attacks would probably be like Z-Suit's Whip in terms of range, but would in fact be an energy projectile like the standard special. I can't imagine this attack doing too much knockback or, obviously killing, so it could just stun the opponent like flamethrowers, like stagger them a little bit. I don't know, something like that, just not a kill move. Now, down special is where things get a little bit more different. I would believe that Ophelia's down special to either be Reflective Veil, which would just be a reflector, or Heal Wounds, which would heal her for like anywhere from 10 to 30%. If you go with Heal Wounds, you'd probably have to charge it to get the full heal, so there's that. Next, I believe Primrose's down special would be a mix of Lion Dance, Peacock Strut, Mole Dance, and or Panther Dance. Effectively, these are all stats boost. Panther Dance increases your speed, Lion Dance increases physical attacks, Peacock Strut increases special attacks, and Mole Dance would reduce your own knockback. I wouldn't imagine these buffs would last too terribly long, like maybe less than Cloud's Limit. I also don't think that she should be granted all of these buffs at once. I feel like that would be too much like Hyper Shulk. Just maybe one of them. I mean, you could probably alternate between them, like Monado Arts, for example. I don't know, but that beats me. Now for up special. Primrose's up special I feel, best being Bewildering Grace. The move's whole deal is that it has these random effects that can either benefit you or just outright kill you. As this is a random move, anything could be possible in terms of attacks. I feel it best for, this kind of attack to be a self-harm teleport of sorts, like, 10, 13%. As for Ophelia, I feel like that she would blast herself upwards with light magic to get back towards the stage. Now, I don't think that she would, teleport, although that does fit her character more. I can't recall any time in the game where teleportation is even implied, not only for her, but just for any characters in general. As for, Primrose with, teleporting through Bewildering Grace, that's kind of bending the rules considering the concept of that move is randomness. Now, I do think that Ophelia's ideal up special would be something like Palutena's, but due to no teleportation, I feel like that it would most likely be something like Rosalina's. Finally, for smash attacks, I can't tell you much here aside from their godly abilities. What's this? Okay, how do you pronounce this? Siltikjes, maybe. Siltigji's Seduction for Primrose, and Elphic's Auspices for Ophelia. I can't really tell you what they would do. I couldn't figure out entirely how to translate each and every single one of the final smashes, each and every single one of the godly abilities to final smashes, so, be sure to brainstorm that on your own. But yeah, there you go. Now, that took quite a while, and we're only on our second pair, so we got a while before we finish, so here we go. Following up is Albric. Now, Albric within Octopath Traveler acts as three things. 1, your Noble Challenger, 2, your Defender, 3, your Mass Melee Hitter. With Honnet as Albric's Echo Fighter, we need to make sure that Honnet parallels a bit here. So, let's see. Honnet acts as 1, your Rogue Challenger, 2, your Monster Hunter, and 3, your Mass Melee Hitter. Similar to before, we got 2 or 3 out of the hole here, so this is ideally what we're going to be picking at regarding for the remaining characters, making sure that they have at least some parallel within those 3 things. As far as their weapons go, both of these characters also use differing weapons. Honnet uses an axe and a bow, while Albric uses a spear and a sword. As far as melee attacks go, Albric will be sticking purely to his sword, and Honnet for her axe. I believe that their grabs will also be more akin to Mario's in terms of animation, but will be slower with more damage and horizontal knockback, but less vertical. I think that their jab animations will follow typical sword attacks, possibly more like Ike's, since the 2 of them are heavier set. I think that their aerials will also be a lot like Ike's too, but much slower, and Honnet having less range given that she's using an axe. I can't really, think much for tilts here, aside for Ike again, but we don't want that now, do we? For standard specials, I believe they'd both use their secondary weapons. I think Honnet would have a chargeable bow, like Link, but with, like Mario fireball knockback, like barely, pushes them back. But obviously with increased range, just a tad farther than Link's arrows. For Albric, I think he'll toss his spear. This attack will be a faster and farther example of, Mii Brawler's shot put, but without the ridiculous knockback that has. Their side specials will be getting a little weird here. Now, there's no ability like this on Octopath Traveler, but I'm having a little bit of trouble coming up with this, so hear me out. Their side specials will be like Ryu's side B, but with them swinging around their axe and sword. Either that, or like Ike's side B. I don't really know here. Both Honnet and Albric's down specials will more or less be identical. Albric's down special will be Level Slash, which can hit in between short and mid-range with a huge sour spot. The best part about this move is that it'll also serve as a counter. If it's used as a counter, the knockback from Level Slash will be much greater. This is when that sweet spot is enabled, when the opponent triggers the counter. Now, in Sour Spot, Albric will still take damage and can receive knockback if the attacks hit him mid or end of the animation, not just the beginning. Honnet's down special will be identical in the fact that it can act as a counter. The difference being it's going to be Lind and require startup to charge, sort of like Zelda's Phantom. The sweet/sour spot here will be reversed, and the timing of that too. Their up specials will indeed be different. I imagine for Albric, because he has, a heavier set, his up special will be rather short in range. I really don't want to say, as short as the Belmonts, but that's what I think it may be required. Either that, or Mii Fighter's Stone Scabbard. Following with Honnet, because she's a hunter, I want her up special to literally be the Belmont's tether, but she launches herself off an animal when she uses it. That, or maybe, she shoots a bow. Now, if she's out in the blast zone, she doesn't have to rely on her second jump, for example, and then beg for a tether. She could just, jump from the animal. I mean, I guess it would be similar to, Mega Man's up special, or Sonic's, where they can still act after their up special. You could just give her a little push, just to get a little bit further. Think of, as far as that push goes, think of the push like Samus's down B, but it would obviously be from her up special, so I don't know. Both of their final smashes will definitely be, in my opinion, their godly attacks. Drafindi's Rage for Honnet and Brand's Thunder for Albric. Again, I can't really tell you what they would do, aside from massive AoE damage or healing or something, but yeah, there they are. Alright, we are halfway done now, so let's keep going. Tressa within Octopath Traveler acts as three things. 1. Your item buyer, 2. Your physical tank, and 3. Your adapting utilizer. Furion within Octopath Traveler also acts as three things as well. 1. Your item stealer, 2. Your fast shield breaker, and 3. Your adapting utilizer. Note that when I say adapting utilizer, this is completely relevant to how you build these characters in Octopath Traveler. Personally, I made Tressa a heavy, tanky build, with Furion being a fast character, and able to break shields and whatnot pretty early. This is just how they are in-game with their primary roles, not including the separate jobs that you can add on to them. Moving on to their regular attacks, Tressa and Furion both have their own sets of weapons. Tressa uses a spear and a bow, with Furion using a dagger and a sword. Unlike Honnet and Albrecht, making these types of attacks works for the two of them will be a little harder than not. I'd have to say that Furion and Tressa's jab attacks would probably need to be, rapid jab like Young Link's in order to be similar. Per usual, their tilts and aerials will also be identical. I can't really think of what they would look like in the air, so I guess that's up to your guys' interpretation. Maybe, throws similar to Pit's, or the usual throw that most swordsmen in the game have, just kind of pushing them along. Now, if they were to use any type of tilt attacks from any previous character, I would imagine possibly Clouds. Standard Special will be interesting here. I'd say that both of them would use their generic sequel spell, Trade Winds for Tressa, Wildfire for Furion. I would imagine that their spells would act like Palutena's side special. Now this, could or could not be charged for extra damage similar to, like, Robin's standard special. Their side and down specials would be unique to them. Tressa's side special would be Trade Tempest, which would just be a better ranged version of Trade Winds. Her down special, I assume, would either be Octopath Traveler's Rest, which would heal her a bit, or Sidestep, which would be a counter but doesn't actually do damage. Instead, it would give her parry-like frame advantage to attack. Thurion's side special would be the HP Thief or Steal SP. Both attacks have Thurion attack with his dagger twice, gaining either health or magic back with each hit. In Smash, it would be a similar concept to Wario, Kirby, or DDD's Inhale, except Thurion obviously wouldn't inhale them. He would just hurt the opponent and gain some damage back. Thurion's down special, I think, would be best as Shackle Foe. This attack will allow him to plant a trap on a platform and will ground the opponent on contact. Think of Honnet's Leg Hold Trap from Octopath, and Snake's C4 with Inkling's Roller. This attack wouldn't deal knockback or anything when the opponent gets out, and knockback will be reduced while buried, so don't worry, no roller shenanigans. Both of their up specials will be some sort of generic sword attack, like a Fire Emblem character or a Mii. Main difference being, Tressa uses her lance, so that means more range. Final smash for Tressa would obviously be Thelgin's Bounty, and Thurion's would be Aber's Reckoning. Feel free, again, to discuss what kind of attacks these would be, so yeah. Alright, finally, here we are, our last pair. Alphen within Octopath Traveler acts as three things. 1. Your information gatherer, 2. Your single healer, and 3. Your big brain man. Cyrus within Octopath Traveler, that was a beautiful voice crack. Cyrus within Octopath Traveler acts as three things. 1. Your information gatherer, 2. Your magician, and 3. Your big brain man. Both of these people being big brain men means that you'll be more worried about what attacks these two perform on the enemies to expose weaknesses in both shield and damage, while the rest of your team focuses on either healing or just downright attacking. These two characters' turns more or less literally act as the information gatherers in and outside of battle. This being said, let's discuss their weapons. Alphen uses an axe, while Cyrus uses a staff. We could give them, basic 1, 2, 3 swing types of deal, like a much slower version of Ike. That or Lucina/Marth, maybe Shulk. Regardless, I believe that these two would only have elemental-based tilt attacks. Alphen's only elemental attack is Icicle, which, surprise, is an ice spell. Now, however, Cyrus has access to all of these spells in the game, minus Wind, Dark, and Light attribute magic. Now, I think that Cyrus's 3 tilts could be, Ice for down tilt, Lightning for side tilt, and Fire for up tilt. Again, Alphen would just use the Icicle for all 3 tilts. The 2 of them, however, will share hitboxes, animations, damage, and knockback. The only real difference is properties, like how they can affect Pikmin, or whatever. I think all of their throws can be like Falco's in the same way, in the same sense that they would throw an enemy and then shoot a projectile towards them. Again, I think for Cyrus that the type of projectile will depend on the throw. but all of them will be Icicle for Alphen. Aerials, I feel, should be slower but powerful. Definitely like Robin, if I had to say. Let's now look at the standard special moves. I honestly feel like Alphen and Cyrus's standard specials will, be much of the only significant difference between them. Alphen's standard special will utilize his ability to make potions and stuff on the fly. Think of Pikmin and how Olimar grabs multiple Pikmin in a set rotation. Alphen will effectively do the same thing, but grabbing projectiles that do certain stuff. Like Peach's turnips, almost. Cyrus's standard special, I think, should be Fireball. Now, this will be a chargeable Fireball. It'll move like Mario's, but you can charge it like Robin and Samus to make it bigger. The bigger it gets, though, the less it travels. I don't think it would be too terribly big, like no bigger than Pac-Man or Ivysaur, I feel. Their side special will be the same attack, focusing on Ice Magic. Alphen's will be Icicle, while Cyrus's being Ice Wind. Cyrus's side special will act like Ice Climber's down special, with it staggering the opponent. Alphen's will do just a simple attack with a hitbox, knock the opponent away. Think of it like the difference between Ryu and Kin's side specials. I definitely think that Alphen's down special will be Last Stand. Last Stand deals more damage the lower Alphen's HP is, which would mean that it would deal more damage depending on how much damage that Alphen has taken. I imagine Alphen's down special will act a lot like Robin's down smash. Robin's down smash has different properties too depending on what kind of sword you use. I feel like this can be best incorporated into Alphen's down special by how much damage you've taken. Cyrus's down special will be similar, with the ideal of him slamming his staff down. However, Cyrus's down special will deal damage depending on which magic spell you last used. If you last used an attack with fire properties, then Cyrus's down special will be Fire E. If you use ice, it'll be Icy, etc. The only thing left for the two of them would have to be up special. Cyrus, as a magician, can work with, magic boosting himself upwards. Alphen, on the other hand, just has Icicle. I suppose Alphen could do an ice version of Robin's up special, with Cyrus being thunder or fire based, but oh well. I kind of feel like that we're taking a lot from Robin here, but whatever. Final smashes for Alphen will be Doter's Charity, with Cyrus's being Elephant's Enlightenment. As far as all of their final smashes go, I suppose the actual image of each god would be imprinted on the background while the attack happens. Just an aesthetic, but it's whatever. Alternate costumes I feel can range between just looking like each character's rogue and noble counterpart, or other characters in their own separate chapters within Octopath Traveler. For example, Albrecht with an Earhart costume, that would be kinda cool. As far as the stage is concerned, Onion Creature proposed the idea of a castle siege-like stage that would interchange between all of the hometowns for each character. While I feel that this could definitely work, I think a few other towns in the world work as well. I believe the location of the game where the true final boss takes place is also a good idea, but also the location of every character's own final boss. For example, the theater with Primrose, or Ruins with Cyrus. Either or, to be honest. The music for the stage definitely knows no bounds, as Octopath Traveler has great themes for in and outside of battle. Most of people's main worries with Square Enix music, however, is that it's Square Enix, and that Final Fantasy only has 2 songs. Little known fact, the main reason Final Fantasy only has 2 tracks is because Square doesn't actually own a whole lot of the rights to their songs. They typically get other people to perform and compose them, and their contracts just typically work out in different ways. Another reason could be having music just doesn't benefit Square enough with the deal with Nintendo. Square wouldn't be gaining enough money from it, basically. Don't ask me how, but those types of deals really can just work out one way or another, and Square definitely doesn't need any more strife. Get it? When it comes to losing money. As far as other representation goes, there's practically limitless amount of spirit ideas. Philip from Albrecht's story as Young Link, Russell from Cyrus's story as Robin, Captain Leon as Chrom. The possibilities literally are endless. Assist trophy? Simple. Kit. Even if Octopath Traveler may not get a character into Smash Ultimate, having some sort of representation like Spirit or Assist Trophy would be downright amazing. Now remember, as of the time of this recording, only Joker has been announced for DLC. I don't necessarily think that these Octopath Traveler characters will be DLC. Granted, they would be taking up 2 slots with my idea, and I'm fairly certain that we're only getting 1 character per third party regarding the DLC anyways. Now, is it possible? Yeah, technically, but I don't think it's going to happen. At all. This video was more or less just a brainstorming session of what if and how regarding these characters and their potential in Smash Ultimate. Now, that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. This is Jake, logging out. Peace.